There is no key for a bike like this from the factory, so I did look up an ignition for Kawasaki Prairie, or 450, I think, I'm not sure. I'll show you the part number in the end, but this is what I ordered on Amazon. It is a Kawasaki replacement part, and I plan to make a bracket and kind of mount it onto this center bolt here. And it's just a simple 2-wire design. When the key is on, wires are joined. When it's off, wires are disconnected. So my plan is to wire into the existing wiring for the button and just separate one wire for power, so that when you press this, you get nothing until the key is on. So let's do that. Let's remove the front cover. Just release the strap right here and one nut here in the middle. So this is the harness right here to the existing power button. Little release here, you can let that go. So there you can see it goes up to the existing power button module. And this here is a little release on the bottom. Push on that, you can pull it off the bracket right there. And you'll be able to do some testing to see which wires are which. So basically one of those is obviously power full time, and whichever one it is on this side is the one I am going to interrupt with my keyed switch. So I did confirm that the black is the ground, obviously, but the thickest red has the voltage in it. So that's the one I'm going to snip and put my keyed switch in between. And basically all I did was I cut it and I joined on the switch. I wired in a fuse and put it back on to the power. So basically all I interrupted, this, instead of this wire going right here, it's cut and comes down through the fuse to the ignition that I bought, and then back to this here. Okay, so ignition is wired in and it's on and off, but we don't see anything because the main power is on. So if I turn it on, nothing happens till I turn the key. Everything powers up. So when the key is on, everything has power. You can turn it on or off from here, or if you leave it on, when you take off the key, everything is dead. So here you can see the connections. I did solder them and have heat shrink on them. And I'm also gonna add some wire loom and then zip tie everything up nice and neat in here. Here's the wiring complete. I did put some wire loom, as mentioned, all over here. I did zip tie each end to keep it in place. And then this I zip tied it to here to the middle, kind of keep the fuse off to the side in case I ever do need to do it, but it's highly unlikely. Here is the bracket that I made. Just a piece of scrap I had laying around. So I did drill a hole there, and the ignition fits in this hole. There's a slot for the ignition so it doesn't turn. I put the slot on both sides. I didn't know really which way the ignition was gonna go. But this basically is gonna mount in right here onto the nut right here in the center that holds the front cover on. That's gonna sit right there. The ignition is gonna come up through there. So let me get it in position and I'll show you. You'll notice this particular ignition is thinner on one side, like it's offset from the base. It will not fit like this. I had to put it like this direction so that it fits underneath here a little bit. And let me get it in there and I'll show you. So once the ignition comes up through this bracket that I made, there is a ring that screws on and keeps it tight to that bracket. And then that screw goes right there. There it is with the front cover installed. I don't have the screw in yet because I do have to take this off and paint it black. And I think that's it. So here's the view when you're sat on the bike, and you can